Today, your National Association for Gun Rights is calling for Attorney General Pam Bondi to be fired. That's a tall order, and that may catch some of you off guard, but allow me to make the case plainly. Like many, we had severe reservations about the nomination of Pam Bondi. She didn't have a record of anything so extreme as supporting assault weapons bans, but she did have a tendency that I view a bit more pernicious. You know the phrase, death by a thousand cuts? Well, Pam Bondi has held that knife more than a few times in her political career, and it's always the cuts from a supposed friend that hurt the most. When a Democrat stumps for full-blown confiscation, you and I at least know where they stand and what the threat level is if they were to take power. What is often more dangerous is when you deal with Republicans, particularly the kind who care more about image and polls than you do about restoring God-given rights. Make no mistake, I'm not saying Bondi is cut from the same cloth as Feinstein or Schumer. She's clearly better than whomever would have been in her place had Kamala Harris been elected. But is that the only standard by which we should judge? If that's the case, we should just pack this whole thing up because the bar is so low that we would never be able to mount a grievance. But gun owners didn't show up at the polls to get some slightly better than complete destruction of their fundamental rights. We were promised not simply a casual defense that the Republican Party has begrudgingly granted us over the years. We demanded and were promised real, tangible reforms and a reversal of decades of abuse. Some in our circle have been disappointed with Bondi over what they perceive as a lack of positive action. They're saying that the goal is unguarded and she won't make a strike. But it's much worse than overpromising or under-delivering. She's actively been playing goalie for the other side, going to great lengths behind the scenes to protect state power at the expense of your Second Amendment rights. And that is far more egregious than disappointing. That is active sabotage. I refuse to believe this is the best we can get. This year was, and still is, the greatest opportunity for gun owners in my lifetime. And that opportunity is being woefully squandered in real time right before our eyes. If you don't believe me or you think that I'm being unfair, let me walk through her record before her nomination, what she has done since, and then you be the judge. But be prepared, this is a very long list. The straw that broke the camel's back came this week when she convinced a federal judge to demand the member lists of two national Second Amendment advocacy organizations. But more on that in a moment. Let's start with her record as Florida's Attorney General so we can kind of establish a pattern. Exhibit A, Bondi opposed paying gun owners for their seized bump stocks. In 2019, Bondi succeeded